Okay guys, so welcome to our lecture. Ngayon, we will be talking about another topic. So, bago na naman. So, this was a rescheduled lecture pa rin, gaya kanina, because I was not able to meet you last Monday. And that is why we are rescheduling our lecture today, but this will only be today. Next week, balik na ulit tayo sa Monday discussion. So, we will be covering the topic police ethics, okay, in the subject professional ethics and conduct. Okay, so this is already the module 3. I uploaded already the other lectures in YouTube. So, pwede ninyong balikan yun kapag hindi nyo pa or wala or ngayon na kayo nakapag-attend ng ating lecture. So in this lecture, we will be covering the topic on the police ethics. So we have here the definition of ethics. By the way, na-discuss naman na natin yung konsepto ng police ethics, and the very basic concept of police ethics. So police ethics is defined as the system of moral values that are generally accepted as a professional standard in policing. So when we are talking about the group or system of values that are being utilized by the police force or the law enforcement agencies, organization, that guides them on how they are going to conduct their duties and responsibilities professionally, then yun yung tinatawag nating police ethics. Kasi ethics, sabi nga natin, the study of right and wrong. Now, if we're going to use the word ethics in police, i-combine natin sa yon, then we are looking into the standards for professional standard for doing the duties and responsibilities of a police officer. I always say this to my class, sa ethics class ko, sabi ko nga, there is no manual on how are you going to be a good police officer, but of course, professionalism, being disciplined individual always is a natural traits that every human being should have. Yan ang paniniwala ko. Na tayong lahat bilang isang tao ay dapat automatic na kumbaga ang pagiging marespeto, magalang, mabait para sa atin. Ngayon, i-adapt mo lang 'yon, gawin mo lang yung mga usual thing na ginagawa mo. If you had been raised properly, kung tamang pagpapalaki sa'yo, gawin mo lang yung lagi mong ginagawa, yung nakasanayan mo, habang ginagawa mo yung trabaho mo bilang isang police officer, then definitely that is already how you should become a good police officer or a professional police officer. Okay? Now, syempre doon sa police work, meron yung mga tinatawag nating common values na dapat meron ang isang police. So, dapat meron siyang allegiance, meron siyang honesty, meron siyang loyalty, and syempre, dapat meron siyang courage. So, those are the four core values or common values that a police officer should have while he is performing his duty as a police officer, or all of the police officer dapat meron sila ng allegiance, meron silang honesty, especially yan, meron din silang loyalty, pero yung loyalty, we're referring to loyalty in a good manner, Ang loyalty kasi hindi sinusukat yun sa loyalty mo sa isang tao, but rather loyalty, sabi ng ating police ethics, sabi ng ating professional conduct, so Code of Professional Conduct for Police Officer, loyalty to the Constitution. Loyalty to the Constitution. He will uphold the Philippine Constitution as he is loyal to it. So kung ano yung mga nandoon, especially under Bill of Rights, kung ano yung mga karapatang binabanggit doon sa Philippine Constitution, dapat yun yung i-uphold niya bilang isang police officer. And lastly, we have courage, no? Katapangan, no? Katapangan sa tamang pamamaraan. No, hindi naman yung matapang ka, pero matapang ka sa pangungurakot, no? Matapang ka sa panonorture, matapang ka sa panggugulang sa iba, pananakit sa iba. Hindi yun yung katapangan na hinahanap natin sa kapulisan. Dapat matapang ka sa pagharap ng mga problema, no, especially regarding sa criminality and so on, no? So pag may mga kriminal na kailangan nating huliin, dapat doon natin ipakita ang katapangan at hindi sa pansariling kagustuhan lamang. So those are the values as well as the concept of police ethics na dapat nating pakatandaan. Okay? Sabi dito, this is especially relevant to police work. Now, police ethics is very relevant to police work. Why? Because being a police officer requires a lot. Meron akong personal experience na kwento ko lang. Of course, ang dami kasing checkpoint ngayon. This happened last Monday, no? Nung pabalik na ako dito. So, dumaan ako sa isang checkpoint and there are police officer there. So may sinusundan akong tricycle na natanggalan yata ng kadena sa malapit lang dun sa checkpoint. Now, I noticed that hindi tumulong yung dalawang police officer na nandoon sa checkpoint despite na malapit sila doon. Question, is that considered as ethical for police officer? Kaya, no? Would that be considered as an ethical behavior for police officer? No? Okay. So, this we can relate, no? Yung tinatawag nating police ethics. For example, ako bilang ordinary citizen, hindi ako tumulong, no? How am I different to the police officers who were right there, no? They are in the line of their duty, no? na naka-duty sila. How is that different from me? Kumbaga, sino sa amin ang mas, kumbaga, mas naging unprofessional, no? Yung kumbaga is masasabi natin na mas masama ang ginawa dahil parehas kami hindi tumulong, no? In that scenario. Ngayon, there is a requirement, kumbaga, yung standard kasi na tinitignan natin for police officer is somewhat different from the standard that is applied for ordinary citizens. Siyempre sa akin, konsensya ko din yun, no? But then, in that manner, masasabi natin na mas lamang, kumbaga, sa pagkukulang, si police officer. Why? Because their profession, no, especially that they're in the line of their duty, mas mataas ang demand. No? Mas mataas ang demand ng demand for ethical behavior kumpara sa isang passerby, isang isang taong dadaan lang diyan na wala namang obligasyon na tulungan or obligasyon na tumigil para tulungan yung isang tao. So ganun kumbaga, no? Do not be wag kayong magtanim ng hinanakit if usually ganyan ang tingin ng public or ganun ang dinedemand sa inyo. Especially you will become a future police officer someday, baka maka-encounter kayo ng kung saan is mga citizen na kung saan is they are very demanding to you, no? They are very strict with regards to your behavior. Bakit pag ang pulis nag-inom, no? Ang sama-sama ng tingin sa kanya, pero ang ordinary na mamamayan pag nag-inom, wala silang ibang sinasabi, no? Bakit ang pulis pag nambugbog, andyan agad ang attention ng media, andyan agad ang attention ng community, no? Ang dami-daming sinasabi sa kanila, no? Samantalang ang isang tao, na ordinaryong tao, kapag siya ang nangbugbog, wala namang ganong attention na binibigay, no? You must remember that the requirements or the demand, no? The expected sa isang tao na kung saan he is a public servant by nature, and yun, ang kapulisan natin are considered as public servant, no? Is mas mataas talaga ang criteria na binibigay nila sa kanila when it comes to ethical behavior, no? Konting bagay lang na magawa ninyo, definitely you will be judged and you will be ostracized because they are expecting a higher criteria for your behavior. No, mataas ang kanilang criteria, mataas ang kanilang tinitignan na kumbaga standards para sa behavior ng isang public servant. And that includes, of course, police officer. That is why sabi nga dito, no, police officer should commit more than an ordinary individual, because if you are already a police officer, no, wag mo nang isipin that you are just an ordinary individual, no. Every the community eyes, no, yung kumbaga is yung mga mata ng publiko ay laging nakabantay sa inyo kung meron kayong gagawin na kalokohan or meron kayong gagawing masama. So that is already expected for the police work, no? Yan. So you should take that as a challenge, no? Kasi ang taas ng standard na binibigay sa kapulisan, ang taas ng criteria na binibigay sa behavior, sa conduct ng isang police officer, then take that as a challenge and prove yourself that you are indeed deserving, no? That you are indeed that you indeed deserve the respect of the community. Yan yung lagi nating tatandaan, ano? You need to prove yourself in order for you to achieve or receive the approval of the community that you serve. Okay? Now, we have here the vision of ethical policing. Paano nga ba, or ano nga ba yung masasabi nating ethical policing? Kailan natin masasabi ng isang policing is already ethical? No? When and how will that be considered? The ethically ideal policing system would be one with integrity. No? One with integrity. There's no question about it. No? Basta walang corruption na involved, walang criminality na involved, and so on. Yeah, there would be basta there is no corruption that is involved while you are doing your job, then that is ethical policing. Now, yung mga problema natin, the common problems that are being encountered by our police officers, such as sa mga issues ng corruption, sa mga issues ng abuse of authority, no? If there are no things like that, no? Kung walang mga ganong issues sa isang kapulisan, so pag mga walang mga ganong issues na lumalabas accordingly na kinocommit ng ating mga kapulisan, then there is an ethical policing na tinatawag, no? There is an ethical policing. But it's very hard to achieve that, no? Tanggapin na natin yan na mahirap gawin ang isang organization as big as PNP as ethical as possible in relation to their performance of their duty. Why? Ang laki ng organization, ang laki ng PNP organization. If you're going to provide the data, how many are involved in policing, no? Kung gaano kalaki ang PNP organization, sobrang no? Sobrang dami. And with that, it's really hard to control all the behavior of police officer kasi hindi naman pare-parehas ang background, hindi naman pare-parehas ang pagpapalaki sa kanila, hindi naman pare-parehas ang beliefs, no? And the principles ng mga tao niyan. That's why it's hard to create a specific program that would generalize all the police officer making or intending them to make, no? A professional police officer, or intending them to make as ethical as possible in the performance of their duty. Okay? So you must remember that there is no such thing as us against them. No, no disrespect for the limits of law or how it is enforced. Okay? Um, you know, you cannot consider as a future police officer, remember this, you should never consider that the community, the public is your enemy. Walang ganun, no? If they are so hard on you, that is because they deserve or they expect, no, much more from you in terms of your behavior and in terms of your efficiency in the performance of your duty. Mataas ang hinihingi nilang or mataas ang demand nila pagdating sa behavior ng kapulisan kasi nga you are a public servant. Okay? So there is no such thing as us against them, no? In relation to the performance of duty. Consider everyone as your ally. Okay? And you must remember that everything done in private would be just as if was done in public. No? Kaya nga sabi ko, whatever you do, no, once you are already known to the community that you are a police officer, lahat na ng mata nakasubaybay sa'yo. Regardless if you are acting in your private or public life. No? Kahit ikaw ay civilian na kasi nga off duty ka na, no, kahit ikaw ay hindi na naka-uniforme, ikaw ay naka-leave or whatsoever, no, you must remember that once the community knows that you are a police officer, then you will be seen as police officer until you die. That's the reality. And now, kapalit nun is that the burden of fulfilling or the burden of satisfying the community in terms of how you behave and how you act should remain the same regardless if you are in public or you are on your private life. No? So lahat ng ginagawa mo sa public, dapat ganun din ang ginagawa mo in public. In private. Mahirap naman na sobrang bait-bait mo kapag ikaw ay nasa duty, pero pag ikaw pala ay off duty na, kapag ikaw ay umuwi na sa bahay nyo, kasama mo ng pamilya mo, sira ulo ka din pala. Mahirap naman na nanghuhuli ka ng nagsusugal kapag ikaw ay naka-duty, pero pag uwi mo, ikaw pala ang pasimuno ng sugal dyan sa inyo. So that is what it means, no? Everything done in private would be just as if it is done in public. Okay? Now, if there are mistakes, we cannot avoid to commit mistakes. In the performance of duty, meron at merong pagkakamali. No? Meron at merong pagkakamali, no? At yun yung dapat nang gawing learning opportunities. Diba? Sabi nga natin, ano ba yan? Yung kasabihan natin, the more mistake you commit, the more you learn. No? Okay? So, wag naman laging magkaroon ng mistake. But let's keep it at a minimal. No? And of course, it is expected that you will have a lesser mistake na makocommit while you are performing your duty kasi, number one, it's not ordinary. Hindi ordinaryo ang trabaho ninyo. No? Rather, it involves the protection, then the security of life and properties. And those are a very vulnerable assets, kumbaga. No? We have here the saying, ethical policing works best in an ethical climate. What does it mean? No? Sabi dito, ang pinupunto niya, madali lang magpakabait sa isang mabait na sitwasyon. Okay? Ethical policing may work best in an ethical climate. So for example is marespeto lahat ng tao sa lugar na yan, mababait lahat ng tao sa lugar na yan, no? Cooperative lahat ang tao sa lugar na yan, then definitely it's easy to produce or to perform yung ethical policing, di ba? You as a police officer, there's no reason for you to behave unwantedly. Kung ang lugar na kinalalagyan mo is puro mababait, no, cooperative, no? They are trustworthy and so on. Okay? However, the problem here is that, no? Paano kung lahat ng nakapaligid sa iyo mga kurakot, no? Paano kung lahat ng mga nakapaligid sa iyo puro kalokohan ng alam? And we can refer this to the organization, ano? Halimbawa, ikaw, no, bagong pasok ka na pulis, pero lahat ng inabutan mo doon, no, may mga kanya-kanyang corrupt practices, may kanya-kanyang sideline. What will happen, no? Are you going to maintain your professionalism? Kaya mo kayang i-maintain yung pagiging professional mo? Kaya mo kayang i-maintain yung pagiging mabuting pulis mo in that circumstances, in that certain scenario, na kung saan lahat ng mga taong nakapaligid sa iyo ay may mga kalokohang ginagawa, no? What will happen? Kaya, no, isipin niyo nga if for example kayo na bagong pasok na police officer, then pagpasok mo doon sa organization is nakita mo kung ano yung kalakaran, no? Nakita mo kung ano yung ginagawa nila. Are you going to leave your values, no, na natutunan mo nung ikaw ay bata pa, no, na natutunan mo nung ikaw ay nag-aaral pa, na natutunan mo nung ikaw ay nagtre-training pa, no? Iiwan mo bang lahat 'yon para lamang ikaw ay kumbaga makasabay, no, sa kalakaran sa loob ng organisasyon? And at the same time, that may apply also outside the organization. Wherein, pagpunta mo doon sa lugar kung saan ka mag-duty, no? Lahat doon is binabayaran. I mean, lahat ng problema doon naayos through settlement na may padulas, no? May kumbaga is may suhol and so on. How are you going to react into such situation? Are you going to maintain kung ano yung natutunan mo nung ikaw ay nasa training pa, no? Magpapakabait ka pa rin ba kahit na yung lahat ng nasa paligid mo are puro temptation na, no? So ideally, no, kahit sa mga ganong lugar, no, that is already a true test of your values and your commitment to uphold your ethical standard. Tandaan nyo yan. That is the true test. Kasi pag nasa ethical climate ka, ibig sabihin is kaaya-aya naman talagang magpakabuti kasi mabuti lahat ang nasa paligid mo. It's very easy na magpakabuti or magpakatino din bilang isang police officer. But the true test of your commitment to uphold your professional ethic and all your ethical standards is when you are faced with such temptation all around. No? Pag napapalibutan ka ng temptation. Okay? Meron akong nakita noon na inadapt ng PNP na ginamit nila itong quotation na to, which could apply best to this situation that we are speaking of, no? Sabi nila, meron sila noong ganito, be honest even if others are not, no? Even others will not, and even others cannot. So that really is a knock on the door, on the conscience of police officers who already abandoned, no, their professional ethics and standards, their values in life, their principles in life, in exchange for financial gain, in exchange for a good standing in their profession and so on, no? So yan yung pakatandaan at yun yung i-expect ninyo once you already join the PNP organization, that there are instances that you will be facing great temptation that you cannot resist. No, that's the turning point. No, doon ka na magsisimula whether you are going to be a good cop or a bad cop doon sa point na yun. No, so once you face already that great temptation, that's when, no, your behavior and your path as a police officer will be defined. Okay? Whether you will be a good cop the entirety of your profession or you will be a bad cop until you're done with your profession. Okay? So tandaan na, be honest. Sabi nga dyan, be honest even if others are not, even others will not, even others cannot. No? You should uphold that. We should uphold that. Everyone should uphold that policy. Okay? so as for us to have an ethical policing. Okay, let's move on to the professional ethics. In professional ethics, the practice of profession cannot be regulated entirely by legislation. No? Pag sinabi kasi natin professional ethics, it's not only police ethics. Lahat, sabi ko nga, merong ethics. Lahat ng profession, merong code of ethics. No? Kung ikaw ay doktor, meron kang code of ethics na sinusunod. Kapag ikaw ay isang teacher, meron ka ring code of ethics na sinusunod. Kasi sabi nga natin, the code of ethics sets the standard, no? Expected on how you should behave in your profession and how you should behave professionally. Lahat tayo merong professional ethics. However, no, we must understand that it's not the legislation that could make everyone ethically, no, and professional. Kasi hindi itong mga code of ethics na to ang actually kumbaga is nagiging dahilan kung bakit ang isang professional ay nagiging ethical in the performance of his profession. Hindi yan, no? It seems that the code of ethics will just serve as reminders, but all the core values stated therein, like for example, honesty. No? Ang honesty, matututunan mo lang ba yan pag nakapasok ka na sa trabaho? No? Ang loyalty, matututunan mo lang ba yan kapag ikaw ay nakapasok na sa trabaho? Let's say for example, nakapasok ka ng trabaho at 30 years old. At that point mo pa lang ba matututunan yung mga values na yon? No. So it's not this legislation that makes a certain professional in the performance of his duty and of his duty. No, it does not makes, or this code of ethics is just a guide or reminder. No, kasi lahat ng values na meron tayo ngayon, no, right now, hindi ito natutunan nung tayo ay nasa college na and whatsoever. We already possess this, no, as early as elementary or even kindergarten, no? Meron na or natututunan na natin tong mga values na to, no? So, this code of ethics are just guides or manual or a reminder, no, on how we should behave as an individual while we are in that specific profession. No? So, being professional is learned earlier than we know. No? The only problem with regards to this, is sometimes akala natin that the society should be responsible in molding the behavior or molding the professionalism of the individuals, no? Siguro ang iniisip natin, halimbawa yung parent na yan, hindi niya na tinuturuan ng magandang asal yung kanyang anak. Bakit? Kasi naniniwala siya na kapag siya ay nag-aral, matututo siya ng tungkol sa disiplina, matututo siya ng tungkol sa pagiging honest, and so on. Which is wrong, no? Kasi dapat yung mga ganong values tinuturo na sa loob pa lang ng pamamahay. No? Halimbawa, sabihin mo, sige, matuto ka ring madisiplinahan pag ikaw ay pumasok na sa training. Tama ba yun? No? Na doon niya palang matututunan sa training yung pagiging discipline. Mali yun. No? Sige, matuto ka ring gumalang kapag ikaw ay nagsimba na. No? Tama ba? Naiasa natin yung learning about these different values sa church, sa school, no? Sa police officer, no? Or sa mga teachers and so on. No. No? Lahat ito should start already as early as doon pa lang siya sa pamamahay, na kung saan nasa puder pa lang siya ng kanyang mga magulang. Dapat ma-introduce na ito sa kanya habang bata pa, para nang sa ganun is kapag lumaki na siya, madali na lang niyang ma-adapt or madali niya lang ma-adapt yung mga different values na ito, no? Kung walang ginagawa ang isang magulang regarding dito, no? Sabi natin, poor parenting, then what do you expect to the behavior of the child? So, usually, nagkakaroon tayo ng problema sa behavior, no? Simula sa pagkabata pa lang, no? Hindi natin napapansin no, na malaki ang impact talaga ng parenting sa pag-mold ng behavior ng isang tao. So, even if you are as young as possible, kumbaga natututunan na natin yung concept ng professionalism. Kasi ano ba yung concept ng professionalism? Di ba? Pagiging magalang, no? Pagiging marespeto, no? Yung mga different values that we have, no? All of those things pwedeng ma-pick up, no? Pwedeng matutunan ng isang bata pa lamang. So, it should start as early as possible. Hindi dapat iasa ng society ang pag-mold sa behavior ng mga kabataan ng isang tao sa different social institution kasi nothing can change or nothing can do the responsibility of the family in molding, no, in developing the behavior and values of the child. No, hindi pwedeng iasa ng isang pamilya or hindi natin pwedeng iasa as society yung pag-mold ng behavior ng isang bata sa different social institution kasi ang pinaka-the best pa rin talaga na magturo ng mga values na to are no other than the parent themselves. Okay? So remember that being professional is learned earlier than we know. Okay? Policing and the community. Yeah. In democracy, no, the support of the people cannot be forced. That's true. Kaya nga dito, maraming bumabanat sa mga kapulisan. Why? Because we are a democratic country. Anyone can say what they want, no? Pwede nilang sabihin ang gusto nilang sabihin, no? Kung may nakikita silang masama or pangit na ginagawa ng kapulisan, sasabihin nila 'yan. That's the benefit of being in a democratic country. Anyone or everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and they all have the right to or freedom to express what they think. Na? So, in such setting, hindi pwedeng pilitin ang mga tao na kung saan isuportahan even the PNP organization. Hindi mo pwedeng pilitin ang isang tao na irespeto ka, suportahan ka, tulungan ka, na? Even if you are considered as a person in authority because we are a democratic country. Da? Habang pinipilit mo or habang habang pinipilit mo, no, mas lalo silang lumalayo. What should be done? No, ano dapat ang gawin? No? The community will automatically support, no, respect the police officer if, no, their job is performed effectively. No? In order for them to gain the support of the community, no, dapat ipakita nila that they deserve to be respected in way or kung paano sila paano nila gawin yung trabaho nila, no? Paano nila pakitunguhan yung community, no? Dapat ipakita nila yan. Kaya nga nagkaroon tayo ng additional division of the PNP which is the yung tinatawag nating police community relation, no? Which focuses on building a good rapport to the community. Ang focus nila is magkaroon ng magandang koordinasyon ng community at ang kapulisan. Na? Kasi naniniwala sila na kapag suportado or kapag ang organization, ng PNP organization is being respected, no? And being supported by the community, then their work can be perform more effectively. Kasi imaginein mo, no? Pumunta ka or meron kang hinahabol na kriminal, no? Nagtanong ka doon sa isang barangay kung meron silang nakita, pinagtakpan nila. So, how are you going to succeed on that? No? Kung pati yung mga tao sa barangay na yan ay hindi ka tinutulungan by providing you information. No? So, pwedeng ganun ang mangyari. That instead of supporting the PNP organization, they would rather support the criminals. And that's the worst case na pwedeng mangyari if the police organization will not be able to gain the support of the community. No? So police and the community plays a very important role in the solution of this crime problem that we have. And in order for the police organization to gain the support of the community, no, they must perform their duties and obligation in a professional way that would impress or that would encourage the community to support them. No? So that is the relationship between the policing and the community. Anyway, we will be talking about more on this pagdating natin doon sa police-community relation kasi of course we need to include that as part of the discussion on the subject matter. Okay, we have here the new breed police. Na? We know for a fact that the history of police medyo hindi ganun kaganda. No? Starting from the PC, no? Which gained very nefarious record, kumbaga, hindi maganda yung kanilang background, hindi maganda ang tingin sa kanila ng community. That's why there's a need for them to reorganize the police force, no? So from PC, nagkaroon ng reorganization, tinawag silang PNP, no? Tinawag silang PNP, binago lahat, binago ang imahe, binago ang damit, binago ang policies and so on, no? So nagkaroon tayo ng new breed of police. The problem is, no, hindi naman binago yung mga tao na nandun. Kumbaga, binihisan lang ng panibagong uniforme, binihisan lang ng panibagong binigyan lang ng panibagong pangalan, but the officers before remained, no? Yun yung masaklap. Okay? Kasi kumbaga yung isang product, no, nirepack mo lang siya, okay? Nirepack mo lang siya, pinaayos mo lang yung packing niya, nagkaroon ka lang ng marketing strategy siguro, pero hindi mo naman binago yung laman, hindi naman sasarap yung lasa ng product mo, no? Kahit na anong balot ang gawin mo. So, my point is that merong new breed of police, no? Na kung saan is hindi nabibigyan ng much attention because there are those individuals or there are those police officers that are still on the old school, kumbaga, no? At pag sinabi nating old school, ibig sabihin, whatever the things that they're doing before, they keep on repeating that and they wanted to impose that to the new breed of police. And of course, this new breed of police, no, yung mga bagong pasok pa lang, no, yung mga may bagong pananaw na, kumbaga, on how the PNP organization should work, don't have that voice and don't have that authority yet for them to impose their own changes. So the rules are being guided by the old school, no, by the supervisors who are who belongs to the old school pa rin. Hindi naman natin sinasabi that the old school is indeed not ideal anymore. But the point here is that meron kasi yung mga ginagawa nila before that is no longer applicable right now, no? Nagbabago, changing, kumbaga. Policing system is rapidly changing. That's why there is a need for innovation, for new policies, for a new way of dealing with the community and so on. 'Di ba? Meron yung mga police officer na militaristic pa rin ang approach even if they're talking to civilian, no? Kumbaga, ang ginagawa sa kanila dati in their training, ginagawa rin nila even if they're facing civilian. Remember that civilians are not subjected to militaristic approach, no? Kaya nga minsan karamihan ng mga civilian are afraid of talking or having a conversation with police officer because they view police officer as militaristic individuals, no? Parang akala mo laging nang aaway, no? Pasigaw kung magsalita, ang angas-angas kung makipag-usap. Yun yung mga inaayawan ng community. And that is why, no, hindi sila masyadong malapit sa police organization. Of course, the new breed knows this already, ano, na hindi dapat ganun. Meron naman tayong right time to do that. If you're dealing with a criminal, if you're dealing with uncooperative subject, no, kung may mga talagang pasaway na mga individual, yun yung dapat bigyan nila ng ganong approach. But then ordinary individuals should not be given like that, no? Kasi meron yung mga civilian lang dyan na iba-iba kasi ang pag-uugali ng bawat tao, ano. So meron yung okay lang na medyo ganun yung approach sa kanila at meron naman yung mga sensitive. Now, pag halimbawa meron kang isang sensitive na ginanon mo, no? Siguro iniisip mo isa lang naman nun, pero what about if yung taong yun is influential and he is capable of uh, maybe stating his thoughts with regards to that na mali pala yun, no? So, pwedeng makadagdag yun sa masamang imahe ng kapulisan. That is why, no, you as a future police officer should adapt to the new breed of policing, you know? Instead na kayo ay kumbaga, tawag doon, sumunod pa rin doon sa nakasanayan, no? The old school, kumbaga, hindi na. You should try to innovate, no? However, sabi ko nga, ang changes very slow, no? Doon sa PNP organization, it's because the department supervisors, administrator, yung kumbaga, yung heads ng organization are usually on the old school, no? Once that those things will be changed, no, kung mapalitan yun, no, yung impluwensya ng old school will be removed already from the PNP organization at magkaroon na tayo ng new breed of policing, new breed of officers, and new breed of policies, then we could probably see some changes into the image of the PNP organization itself already, no? So yun yung mga ina-expect natin. Yan yung nangyari actually, no, during the reorganization of the PNP, no? Dapat doon is nagkaroon na ng total reorganization, not only for the uniform, not only for the policies, but also for the personnel, no? Kasi hindi maaalis agad kung ano yung nakasanayan nila. At ngayon, may mga bagong pumasok, no? Inimpose nila yung nakasanayan nila, yun na rin yung inadapt ng mga bagong nakapasok, hanggang ngayon patuloy pa rin yung mga ganong situation, no? So there is really a conflict between the old school and new breed in the police organization. That is why minsan nagkakaroon tayo ng conflict at nagkakaroon tayo ng walang unity minsan, no? Dahil diyan sa conflict na yan. So before I think they can be able to reorganize or clear up the entire organization, dapat ma-unified muna ang lahat-lahat under the organization so that it will manifest outside. Okay? Police character, yan yung sinasabi ko kanina, no? How do we define the ano yung tinatawag natin police character? Okay? So since you are third year, ito, magtatanong lang ako. Describe to me a police officer, no? Magtatawag ako ng isang babae, isang lalaki. I'm going to ask, describe to me a police officer, no? And a police character. Kung ano sa tingin mo ang police officer. Paano sila kumilos, paano sila magsalita, no? Paano sila makipag-usap, and paano yung approach nila. So, that's the police character na tinatawag. Sige, let's ask first, isang lalaki muna. Or may volunteer dyan, no? Baka may volunteer. Yung una sa aking listahan, sino? Volunteer? Justin?
Sir.
Yes. Describe mo nga sa akin ang isang police officer mula pananamit, kilos, pananalita, galaw, and kung may gusto ka pang idagdag. Justin.
Police officer, maintain law.
Sige, no. Tinanong ko lang, nawala na. Nag-left na. Okay. Ayan, tuloy. May mga nag-left tapos babalik mamaya pagtapos na. Yes, Miss Laika. Do you want to volunteer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Miss Laika, describe to me a police officer.
Miss Laika, describe to me a police officer. Sir, first, physical fitness, sir.
Okay, they're physically fit?
They are physically fit. And upon entering pa lang sa pag-aaral, sir, physically fit na talaga ang mga...
Behavior.
And then, And communication skill, sir.
Okay, what about their communication skill?
The way they, sir, kapag kahit nasaan sila, sir, and whether they are naka-uniform sila or ay on duty sila or not, and they practice professionalism, sir.
Okay. So they're professional on how they communicate.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Regarding naman sa pananamit, sir, makikita naman, sir, na wala kang makikita na police officer naka professional din sila magdamit, sir.
Okay.
From uniform to civilian, sir.
Aha, yes. So wala yung mga parang tambay, ganun.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Where are you from, Miss Laika?
San Agustin po, sir.
Oh, congratulations sa PNP ng San Agustin. Siguro ang gaganda ng nila diyan. Thank you, Miss Laika. Anyone? Any more? Volunteer? Ay, maganda. Kung that's the perception of Miss Laika for police officer, definitely siguro yun yung kanyang nakikita sa kanyang immediate environment, which makes me think that probably PNP San Agustin is really doing their job professionally. Kasi that's a feedback coming from a member of the community based on what she observed in their community. So with that, we can say that the police officer in that area is really doing their best in order to convince the society that they are a friend and they should be trusted, no? So that's good, no? Maganda yan, tama yan. Next, any volunteer? May volunteer pa ba? Okay, Mr. Jobert 1, you're recognized.
Sir, dun sa sabi nga nila sir sa pananamit, sir.
Okay.
Parang yun sa parang professional sila, sir. And then i-compared ko dun sa dati nilang pananamit nung una, sir. Hindi sila nakatakin and then ngayon is nakatakin, sir.
Oh.
Tapos yung character naman nila is kapag magtatanong ka, susumat sila ng maganda, sir, at parang maunahan
Mahinahon.
pananalita, sir.
Okay. Mahinahon at karespeto ang pananamit. Yes, dapat. Actually, 'di ba, pati haircut, no? Lahat 'yan is inaayos nila kasi their image as a police officer is really a big deal kumbaga sa organization. Yan. San Agustin ka din, Mr. Jobert, or hindi?
From Jones, sir.
Jones mismo. Ayan. So, yan, it seems pati Jones maganda rin ang kanilang police, the PNP there, na kung ganyan din ang tingin ng community sa mga kapulisan, then definitely that's a good thing to have, no? Maganda yan. Okay, so I'm very happy to know. Now, my question is, usually yung ini-imagine mo, halimbawa si Miss Laika, tanungin ko si Miss Laika, if you were imagining a police officer, no, are you viewing them as the old school or yung new breed na, yung dinedescribe mo? Kasi meron tayong mga police officer, di ba? Meron tayong mga matatandang police na, no? Compared doon sa mga bagong mga police, mga kumbaga is new breed na. So how are they different? So what's their difference kumbaga when it comes to their way of with regards to their approach on their profession? Ano yung pagkakaiba ng new breed doon sa old? Unahin natin si Ana. Sige, magtawag na lang tayo. Sige Miss Laika.
Sir, compare sa mga old breed tsaka new breed, sir, dun sa mga old breed, sir, mas, kumbaga, stricto sila, sir. Kumpara ngayon, pwede mo pang pag-uusapan yung mga bago ngayon, kumbaga, mahuhuli ka sa daan, sir, pwede mo pa silang papausapin. Pero kapag yung mga old bridge, idadala ka nila talaga sa sir.
Was that your experience? Joke lang. Okay, that's true. That's true.
Yes, sir.
That's very true, ano. I noticed that also, na kapag you're dealing with yung mga, alam niyo na, matatanda na sa serbisyo, stricto talaga sila. Compared do sa mga bago ngayon, na kung saan is nadadala sa maayos na pakiusapan. Siguro, yun yung magandang pagbabago. Siyempre, meron ding good effect yung pagiging stricto. At the same time, meron ding magandang epekto yung kumbaga is pwedeng makipag-usap. Ngayon napapansin ko sa karamihan ng police is meron silang program wherein yung mag-usap tayo, ganun, that they're motivating the community that whatever problems that they have, no, makipag-usap lang sa kanila, no. So yun yung program na nakikita ko ngayon that they are going through, no, which is a part of the police community relation. Tama nga naman, dapat talaga na gumawa ang PNP ng paraan na mapalapit ang community sa kanila through communication. So ini-invite nila everyone, no, lahat ng miyembro, lahat ng nasasakupan nila, na pwede silang dumulog doon para makipag-usap tungkol sa mga problema, no. There was even a post na nakita ko sa isang police station na isang criminology student, dahil nakita niya yung program na yun, na pag may problema ka, lumapit ka sa amin at makipag-usap. Ang ginawa nitong criminology student na to, ganito, no, pumunta siya doon, no. Sabi niya, "Sir, gusto kong mag-aral ng criminology, gusto kong makapagtapos, kaso wala akong pera, maaari niyo ba akong tulungan?" Yes, ganun ang ginawa niya. What happened? Anong ginawa ng police station? Anong ginawa ng mga police doon? Nag-ambag-ambag sila para merong pang-tuition yung estudyanteng lumapit sa kanila. No? There was even a case na kung saan is may isang tatay, no? Sabi niya, pumunta sa station, nakipag-usap sa mga pulis. Sabi niya, "Sir, pwede ba ninyo akong tulungan? Kasi araro ako sa palayan, pero yung perang gagamitin kong pangsahod sa mga magtratrabaho, gagamitin ko sanang pambili ng pang-online class ng anak ko." So anong ginawa niya? Anong ginawa ng kapulisan? Pumunta sila nang nag-araro, tumulong sila sa magsasaka. So that's the new program that they are looking into. And I believe this idea comes from the PCR itself, no? At ini-implement nila ito nationwide. Kasi hindi lang sa isang station ko to nakikita, kundi sa maraming station. I do believe ganyan din sa mga lugar ninyo at napansin ninyo ito. Okay? So, that's a very good thing to know, ano? I'm not surprised that on how you describe the police officers right now, no? Kasi most of you probably had seen already the good side of the police officers, plus the fact that you're enrolling BS Criminology, you wanted to become like them. Siguro yung iba sa kanila, idol ninyo, kaya gusto nyong mag-aral ng criminology. So that is expected. And I do hope, no, na ganun din ang pananaw ng mga ibang tao kahit hindi sila enrolled sa criminology student. No? Yung mga ordinary, yung halimbawa, yung magsasaka, yung mga housewives, I do hope na ganun din ang tingin nila sa ating mga kapulisan. Para nang sa ganun, magkaroon na tayo ng trust and confidence in dealing with in coordinating with the PNP, no? Actually, one of my class before, no, sa masters, no, nagkaroon kami ng discussion with regards to this, no. Sabi nila, it was no longer like before, na dati ang mga tao takot pumasok sa police station, takot mag-report, no, takot magsumbong, no, hindi na daw ganoon. Ang sabi niya, actually right now, no, nakaka-receive na kami ng assistance sa mga simple lang na bagay, like for example, nawawalang bisikleta, nawawalang aso, mga ganun. So kung yung mga ganong bagay nilalapit na sa kapulisan, kahit less serious na matter, ibig sabihin tumataas na yung confidence ng community sa ating mga kapulisan. That is why they are open already in seeking the assistance of the police officers. They are no longer afraid. Kumbaga guys, kahit na seryosong bagay, hindi sila lalapit sa pulis kasi natatakot sila. Hindi na ganun. No? So that's a good improvement, kumbaga, for the police organization as a whole. No? And keep that up. No? Actually, ngayon pa lang, you start already. This can affect your image also. Ano? Criminology, no? Criminology character. How do we view a criminology student? Dapat kung ano ang tingin ng mamamayan sa kapulisan, ikaw na nag-aasam pa lang na gusto mong makapasok sa law enforcement profession, dapat ganun ka na umasta para nang sa ganun, estudyante ka pa lang, karespe-respeto ka na. Hindi yung negative, kumbaga na, criminology yan. Criminology pa lang yan, estudyante pa lang yan akala mo kung sino nang umasta, no? Akala mo kung sino nang makaporma, mga ganun ba? So hindi dapat ganun ang titignan natin na description, no? For you as a criminology student. No, kung gaano ka respeto ang PNP organization and PNP members, the same time, ganun din dapat kayo since you are aiming, no, to be like them someday. No? And it's a good thing that you practice it early as now. No? Kung ngayon pa lang ganun na ang galawan mo, then definitely pag ikaw ay nakapasok na, madali na lang sa iyong mag-adapt on how to behave as a police officer professionally and ethically. Okay? Thank you for your contribution, guys. Yan. So in relation to that, let's talk about when does one learn to become professional. No, kailan ba tayo nagsisimula na maging professional sa galaw, sa pananalita, sa ugali, and so on. Diba? We mentioned kanina that it can start as earlier as possible. No? Habang bata pa lang tayo, pwede nang mag-start na matuto tayo ng mga tamang ugali, tamang pag-uugali, no? Tamang pakikitungo, and many more. No? Now, the question is, where does one learn to be a good police officer? No? Kailan or saan matututo ang isang individual para siya ay maging isang police officer? No? As we all know, na hindi lang naman kasi criminology graduates or licensed criminologists ang nakakapasok sa PNP. No? So some of them start learning the concept of police ethics, no? Start learning the concept of police character doon na sa training nila, which is actually not enough. No? Hindi sapat yon na oras at hindi sapat yun na panahon para matutunan mo lahat, no, ang mga bagay-bagay na yon. So, it's not enough. No? To be a good police officer, it requires a constant effort and self-evaluation every now and then. Kaya nga sabi ko, if you really wish to become or to join the force someday, you should start already, no? You should start already developing yourself towards the attainment of it. Diba? Sabi ni Ms. Laika, physically fit ang mga police officer. No? So pag dinescribe natin ang police, dapat ganito yung appearance yan. No? Walang malalaking tiyan, no? Walang excess fat, and so on. So, as early as today, no? As early as today, if you wanted to become like them, then you should start already living a healthy lifestyle. Para nang sa ganun, pag ikaw ay nakapasok na, ay madali na lang sa yung ituloy-tuloy kumbaga yung ganong uri ng pamumuhay, no? And at the same time, no, they describe them as they are respectful, no? Some of them may be authoritative, no? Some of them may be courteous, and so on. So you start all of those things na para nang sa ganun, pag ikaw nakapasok na, effortless na lang kumbaga na gawin yung mga ganong bagay since you are already accustomed to it. Okay? Sabi dito, the sincerest police officer needs some professional standard or set of rules to which he may look at as a daily guide and one which sets the pattern of professional conduct towards which he can strive. Okay? So, that yung guide na yan, yung tinatawag nating professional standard or set of rules, no, or daily guide, yan na yung tinatawag nating police code of ethics, no? So, a police officer who wanted to have guide on how he can perform best his responsibility, duties as a police officer, he can just browse the law enforcement code of ethics. Andun lahat. Andun yung principle. Yun yung guide. No? Kung meron mang pwedeng i-improve sa kanyang current character, no? Mag-base lang siya doon kasi naandun na lahat nakasaad kung ano dapat yung standard, no, for police officers. Okay? So, that ends our lecture for this module. Ano, napahaba tayo. But anyway, I do hope that it's worth it at meron kayong natutunan for this specific lecture. Okay? So, that ends my lecture. If you have question, it's your time now to ask question. Meron bang tanong? Okay. So, thank you very much. Kung wala nang tanong, thank you very much for attending our lecture. I do hope meron tayong natutunan. If you have questions, don't hesitate to ask. Kapag meron kayong naalala na gusto nyo itanong related to what we discussed, you may ask that kapag na-upload na natin yung video, or you may ask it on our messenger group, or you may comment on our Facebook group, depende kung saan, if you have question relative to what we discussed. Okay? And also, I would like to inform you, as mentioned doon sa isang subject natin kanina, that you should start preparing already sa probable quiz natin on next week. No? And with regards to the module, kindly click or re-download again yung link natin doon sa Comparative and I think Police Ethics 2. Yep, pag na-upload ko to. Yung link na sinend ko sa Google Drive, i-try nyo i-download kasi in-update ko siya kung magpapakita. Kung hindi siya magpakita, isend ko na lang ulit yung link. Okay? So, that ends our lecture, guys. Thank you for listening. See you next week. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome.